shear effect on them. So from the ground, you're not going to know that there's solar up there, and that's something to consider when you start to go up on a commercial building. But we can easily walk down these rows. I could lay sideways and have room between me on each side. So those would be the spots where you would want to vent if you're going to vent this particular roof.
Yeah, this picture is a little bit deceiving. If you saw it from the other side, you can see that there's really quite a bit of open space underneath. You can cover access underneath and behind each panel, Any questions so far, Mr. Grover?
Yeah. You say that these panels are constantly live.
Yeah.
Now, are these panels feeding power into the building? Are you able to cut power to the inside of the building and still have these panels? These panels are live. Are they feeding power?
Well, see, when you cut the AC power to the building, the inverter shut down automatically. So if you lose AC power, your DC power goes down with the AC power, right? But it's still going to be live from the roof to the inverter to that point. But inside the building, your regular wiring is still going to go down with the AC system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put a disconnect on the top by the solar panels. Have a disconnect, just like only 2 panels. That first box is out of the way.
It would require a disconnect for every single panel, and then the panel would still be live.
Yeah, you can't. Again, you can never shut it off.
I know they want to take one panel.
Right, but even no matter how far back the chain you go, you're still left with something. You know what I mean? So.
And these are hooked in a series too, so by cutting one, the rest of the system is still live.
A couple of things of concern going back to the peak roof.
Sure.
First off, how high are the panels off of the roof?
With this particular system, they're about 4 inches off the roof, and then off the peak, we've got about 2.5 feet.
So we wouldn't be roof laddering that roof anyway.
I don't think you could get it with a hook truck.
Plus, would you throw an aluminum ladder over the top of the solar panel on them?
Probably
That's
not.
probably not going to do it. So I'm really going back to this. So doing
Well, I mean, you're cheap. You know that.
Doing anything on this roof is probably not a good idea with the solar panel.
On that side.
All right, bravo. All right, if we want to go to the other side, though, there's no panel right there.
Right, yeah, that's great. Go, yeah.
We'll never cover
Until we stick a hook down through the other panel on the other side.
Right.
On a roof.
Yeah, on a roof.
All right. Thank you.
We're always looking for the southernmost
You guys look.
so you'll never see covered on both sides.
Still standing.
Any other questions?
Tyler, just to back up, you said earlier, actually Steve, that you can't tell in the picture, but at the top of that peak,
Yeah.
there is a gap.
Yeah, there's about 2.5 feet. We
So
try to
we
come
could
down.
technically get the roof ladders, the hooks could go
The
over
other-
that peak
Yeah.
from the other side without
Yeah.
hitting those panels. So we're not going to be digging our hooks into panels.
Right.
Is it standard that there's always room there, or?
We on all of our designs moving forward, yes, that is the
But
standard.
it's
I
not-
can't speak for the industry. It's not a standard. It's a standard for us. It's not an industry standard.
Right now, if a guy wants to pack that roof tight, he can.
Go for it.
There's nothing to stop him from doing it. I think when the 2011 code is adapted or taken into account, that will be in there. Right now, we're working off the 2008 code book, and there's nothing in there for that provision, but it's becoming more and more of a question as it grows in popularity, and I think we'll see it for 2011. So that's why we're adapting it now to make sure that we're safe.
Okay.
So the last thing we ever want to do is pick up the Times Union and read that there was a emergency responder injured by solar panels. For your sake, plus it would be detrimental to the industry. So we want to make sure we're off.
Yeah, you have a lot of regulations coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things we want to make sure that you guys take the precautions and don't become the victim in the scenario. I mean, if this roof collapses and you guys come in and there's a firefighter underneath, your first reaction is going to be to run in and rescue. In that situation, if that roof collapsed, I would do the same thing. I'm not sure if the flames, what the electricity level is going to be on that roof, but it should be dead at that point. At that point, when it's collapsed, the roof is completely gone.
Yeah, the circuits are probably going to be broken. There's no chance that it's going to all stay perfectly together when it falls apart.
much weight is on that roof right now?
This is about 1.2 pounds per square feet.
Altogether though, each panel's about 50 pounds, and you got 36 panels there, so. It's late in the day for me to do that.
Yeah.
1,500 pounds.
1,500.
Yeah.
It's very light on the roof, because our roofs here are designed for anywhere from 50 to 70 pounds. The line is right around Saratoga where it jumps up to 70 pounds. And that takes into account your snow load, everything hung on the inside, fixtures, ceilings, everything to that. So, the system itself is very light on the roof, and it's actually, this side here won't collect snow like the other side will. With the glass surface, and when these things are running, they generate a minute amount of heat. And I'll see a lot of our guys will have their gloves off in the winter and taking the heat out of the solar panel into their hands, and then they put the gloves back on and go back to work. But it will melt the snow off faster than the other side. So.
And another thing that we were discussing this afternoon that I felt was a really good point was that we always want to be, thinking about these things. This system causes a lot more danger when it's under load, right? The chance of an accident under load is much greater than a chance of an accident not under load, right? So again, identifying the inverter, shutting it down, and so that there's no more load on the system really settles things down a lot. You could unplug panels, you could break circuits, remove panels, whatever if you had to, but with the system live and under load, if you try to take that apart, it's a serious arc that you're causing there, and a pretty bad burn and electrocution. So we had a couple of different style systems. Some were just these static poles that are just kind of hanging out there doing nothing, collecting the sun. And then we work a little bit with these dual axis trackers. Now this thing is going to move all day long with the sun. It's going to, first thing in the morning, starts out facing perfectly east. It's going to just be focused on the sun all day long and stay directly into the sun. And with that, we increase our production anywhere from 40 to 50%. So these are becoming a little bit more popular with sort of industrial sites, commercial sites where they don't have a whole lot of space on the roof maybe, and we want to produce a lot of power. Right now we're working on a project where we're installing 6 of these over in East Greenbush at the water treatment facility. So, places like that where they have limited space but need a lot of power. So.
And the thing you guys need to look at here is, say, I don't know, someone pulls into the parking lot, and we all see they hit the gas instead of the brake. And when you guys show up, there's a car embedded on this pole. This pole is basically the equivalent of a ski lift. That pole's not going nowhere. The engineer we hired was from Mount Snow, was it? And that's what he did. He designed ski lifts. So that's what our tractors sit on. It's a 10-foot by 10-foot pyramid under the ground. So the risk that you guys are going to see is if that thing is facing down when they hit it, and if they somehow come into contact, a bigger truck, say, comes into contact and breaks this down here, we want to make sure that you pull them away from the scene before you start administering first aid to the victim. Don't want to use anything metal. If we got fire hose, straps, anything that we can pull them away from that scene and not become a victim in there. No chains, anything of that nature. Even a precaution, if they're just embedded around the pole, I would say get them away from the solar system and then administer first aid to them.
Car charge?
Excuse me?
Potentially, if the system was broken in any way and actually came in contact with the innards of the panel there, yeah, the system, it will be charged potentially.
Now, hopefully, you see this is protected by guardrail from the actual roadway, but this is also sitting at the end of a parking lot, and it just takes one slip up or one little mistake. But you are going to see more and more of these at
How big is that?
municipalities.
This is pretty large. It's got 30 some of the panels on it.
Yeah, that's, what is it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's 30 feet wide by about 25 feet high. It's a monster.
Steve, you had mentioned in previous presentations that you were trying to set some type of standard of clearance from the ground up, and that was 8 feet, wasn't it?
Well, right now we can't go that high because the wind shear that these things face. right now, we're at about 4 feet, and the main reason for that is just so we don't get growth up. It hadn't really taken into account vehicles. Now, typically, this is early in the morning. Typically, this thing's going to be leaned back at this angle, so it will be about 8 to 12 feet in the air.
Gotcha.
This is just first thing in the morning as the sun's rising in the east. It's always trying to get that maximum exposure, so as the sun comes across, it'll keep tilting.
Thank you.
But you're going to see more and more of these because they're dropping in cost. A homeowner can put one of these in their backyard and generate 50% more power, and they didn't use any of the roof space.
Any other questions, general questions?
With that motorized system, would that crush the car, or would it crush the car? Say
No, the
car was in the right angle.
No, it's moving. It moves every 15 minutes, like a really minute amount, and it's a, I think it's 1,000 to 1 gear ratio, so it's like a really slow, just it's not nothing. It's not going to crush anything.
No, you could actually, if you wanted to, you could stop it from moving.
Yeah.
They're very, very resilient, but also very low key.
Yeah, it's either a worm drive kind of thing, or it's a hydraulic ram, like small. There's tiny little hydraulics for the size of the thing, so you get quite a bit of leverage in it. So the other thing that's kind of out there that you might be encountering a little bit more is the solar thermal side of things. We have solar PV, or photovoltaics, that are actually producing DC power to use in any form, whatever, and the solar thermal, which is just producing hot water. And it's definitely made a big comeback. It was pretty popular in the 70s and stuff, and it was kind of an ugly technology, so it kind of faded out. Now they have some new stuff that's kind of a little bit better looking, I guess, and people have been into it. So we don't do a whole lot of this ourselves, but it is definitely out there. I mean, I've just started noticing them pop up a lot more around the area. So on this side here, this is an evacuated glass tube, right? And then in the center of the glass tube, there's an additional glass tube, smaller, that's filled with glycol. So this, it's all natural and whatever glycol and totally harmless. The only harm it causes potentially is burn. We're getting up to about 190 degrees or 185 degrees with the glycol on the roof, even in the dead of winter. We're still getting up that hot. So what we're doing is just cycling the glycol down from the roof down into a heat exchanger, basically in a regular water heater tank, and producing hot water. And some people are using it to supplement their heating system in their house, or use it to heat a pool, or use it just to heat their hot water. So there's a couple different directions that can go with that. For you guys, like I said, the only real hazard it could cause is it broke some of these tubes, and it's going to squirt hot glycol out. It's under a slight pressure, but there's only a little bit. It would probably squirt a little bit once, and then it'd be done. It's running on a small circulator pump. It's pretty insignificant. So I don't think they don't cause too much damage. The only risk here is that you could have a similar situation where the modules are actually covering an area of the roof where you're potentially trying to vent. Again, this you could definitely break and it would be fine, and there's no risk danger there. But it's important to recognize the difference between, aesthetically, the difference between a solar thermal system and a solar PV system, and sometimes they look very similar, like in this case here.
When you see piping.
Right, you'll usually see piping. They're usually much thicker. You're talking about 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches thick panel there. It definitely has a different look, and if you know, but
The danger here, though, to these is, I think this is the one we have on top of Union College. The temperature. We shut this down in the middle of February, and I was wearing a parka. It's freezing up on the science room. And the kids wanted to add another monitoring system to it, and we were trying to do it the quick way without draining the glycol. We said, hey, we'll shut it down for a few minutes. Glycol boils at 266 degrees. This thing shot up to 300 degrees in like 10 minutes in the middle of February. and radio, and we're using cell phones to communicate. I'm like, hurry up, put it on, because this thing should be dumping at about 310 degrees, but if anyone was to come into contact with that water, it would be at the degree instant. And it's a glycol, but it is dangerous in the aspect of it's freezing outside, but if that sun's shining, these things are generating a tremendous amount. And I'm on a will call basis for oil. I have solar thermal in my house, and I forgot to order oil. And we got up in the morning. Usually when this happens, you can face that freezing shower where you're shocked into your morning. With the solar thermal system, it was comfortable. And this was early in the morning, so these things will retain heat for a long amount of time. It could be early in the morning, these things are retaining that heat.
So we showed you that Rensselaer Library. That was a relatively small system as to what we've been doing lately. This is Grace Fellowship Church. What you see here is maybe a sixth of what's on the roof. There's a lot of panels up there. So we cover huge areas of these things. This gives you a better idea of the space between these panels and stuff, and you can just walk up and down the road. Relatively expensive.
Was that fire or?
The way it circulates, so it's going to circulate from the bottom of the panels to the top, or from the top?
It circulates from down in the basement, or wherever the boiler is, all the way up.
To the top.
Every module is going to be.
As it's slanting, does it go up the panel like this, then back down, or does it go up and then go down?
No, it would come inside, and then it would go up, down, get hotter, until it would go out the other side.
There's always two entries, an entry and an exit. And every manufacturer is a little different.
So this is, you can kind of see what this is made up of. Again, just these ballast blocks. And you can see this is 2/3. This is a picture of about 2/3 of what's on the roof there. You can see the ballast goes for quite a distance in the distance there.
Is that in the colony zone, Delicate?
Latham Park.
Okay.
So you can see there's not a whole lot to the system. It's just panels and ballast, but
One thing we've been trying to orchestrate too is to put together a list of every commercial building we have in your area and notify you guys that there is solar on those buildings. So, I don't know, is that something that's useful or create a database? Yeah.
Yeah, we're open to ideas. We're trying to figure this thing out, but we don't know what you guys need or what might be helpful because we don't know necessarily always what you do. So you got to we want some conversation definitely and some help with helping with development stuff.
Installations in each fire department, the ones in their district.
What's that?
There was a list of installations.
Yeah.
Maybe a car one, and then they can divvy it up by district.
Yeah.
That's easy to do at this point.
Yeah. What's that? Or just direct it.
Eventually put it in the canvas. So the canvas flip up and say.
Do you guys have to get permits before you can even start doing buildings?
Yeah.
Building
permit, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, building zoning, depending, the project, but yeah.
And Colony's by far the toughest, one of the building departments that we go to. So.
They're very thorough, for sure. Yeah, this is an example of a small residential system that we did. This is the only battery system that we ever did. This one didn't want to participate in more.